What's going on? This is the Pete, and I'm gonna show you my build that I used for practically soloing Ashava. As you can see here, I'm there waiting for Ashava to spawn, and I get a little worried. See, you can type, I said, where is everybody? Because everybody here is like level 12. Level 19, level 17, at least there's a level 22 there, there's a level 21 there. So I was a little worried about this because my first experience with Ashava is I got totally smacked down before I had this build. I'm using an ice sorceress build. I pretty much went all ice. I have pretty good gear at this time. And I'm talking about it because as I was recording, I screwed up the sound on the commentary, so you couldn't hear a word I am saying. So I'm going to be doing a little commentary now. As you can look at my skills there, it's the typical ice build. Mine is a little different than everybody else's. I did not spec into this a special. I just went in with what my current build was, and you can see Ashava just spawned here. I'm going to teleport in and start using my and then Ashava jumps away right when I use my teleport. Let's see if I use if I have to use a potion. I don't know if I even had to use a potion during this battle. With this build, I can just face tank Ashava and no harm, no foul. I don't think I used one potion. You can see my barrier doesn't even, that smackdown doesn't even get through my barrier. It's such a large barrier. Let's see what I've got going on there. I've got 5, 7, 19, 12 ice shard, hold on, what are those called again? Ice blades spawn. You can see the ice blades spawning. That's the one thing I did change for this build. I typically don't go the ice blade cooldown, but I do that for bosses. Now I have 3, 13, 19 ice blades, 18, 10. Ton, just a ton. So they're all spawning in, spawning out very quickly. Doing massive damage. Now I'll go over a bit of my build here while we're watching this, I guess. You can see I have left click, I have ice shards. I use that for just my main damage spell. I think it does excellent damage. I bet for Ashava you could probably switch Hydra. At the moment Hydra would probably do more damage, but I didn't feel like switching around skills. Yeah, I think Hydra does a little more damage. But I wanted that damage on instant damage. On my right click is teleport. I use that to get in there, and teleport actually gives me damage reduction. So every time I teleport, that's like 5 seconds of 30% damage reduction. Something like that. 20 or 30%. Okay, on my Z button, I'm going to make another video on my custom controls. So if you want to check that out later, we can go ahead and check that out. That'll probably be in a couple days. Maybe by the end of next week I'll have that video. You can see everybody around me is dying. I had to make the decision. I was like, well, I don't even think, since I'm pretty much soloing this, I don't know if I have the damage output to take her down in 15 minutes, so I wasn't going to try to waste any time trying to resurrect people. I'm just going straight for the tank and straight for doing massive damage. On the Z button, I have ice blades to spawn, and ice blades pretty much is broken. I expect that to be patched. I would be surprised. I would be extremely surprised if that wasn't patched by release. So that's kind of unfortunate that we found a very good build, but it's gonna be patched by release. So that's Ice Blades. I think it'll still be alright. Hopefully they don't over nerf it. Maybe they'll make it like a 50 or 25% chance. And that'll still be, it might still be okay. I don't know. We'll see. We might go with a different, like Blizzard or something instead if that's the case. Okay, so on X, I have Ice Armor. So I use Ice Armor to essentially create a barrier. Create a barrier that every time I do damage to them, while Ice Armor is active, it adds to my barrier, okay? So then, after Ice Barrier, I immediately use Frost Nova. Now, Frost Nova doesn't do damage directly, but it does make the monster vulnerable. So if it is vulnerable, that means it takes 20% more damage. So I think those are necessary to pretty much every build. I think that vulnerability is just too important because you can only use literally one skill that uses mana. Everything else is pretty pointless. You just have one mana skill since you get such a small amount of mana. So you have to make it count by using all cooldowns. Next step would, the next skill would be Deep Freeze. That gives me invulnerability, and also it gives you additional barrier after Deep Freeze ends. So that's how I get so much barrier. I still haven't used a potion. Looks like Ashava doesn't spawn any potions either. Look, my barrier is active and my life is still full. I mean, this build is so broken, I would have to be super surprised if it doesn't make it through. And if I am talking too much and you want this video posted with no commentary, just let me know in the comments and I'll post the video with zero commentary so that you don't have to hear my voice or see my face. Let's see what else is going on here. Looks like we have Ashava down to about half life. We have 8 minutes left. It is getting scary. I'm kind of sweating a little bit. You can see people are still dying all around me. Yeah, they can't face tank Ashava like this build can. I pretty much... I wish the barrier will... I wish you could see the numbers. I wish I could see how much barrier I actually have. I bet the numbers would blow your mind about how much HP I have, because while an enemy is vulnerable, you get 20% additional barrier from that ice armor. So as you're attacking them and they're vulnerable, you get 20% additional life damage that you deal to your barrier. That's like direct HP. I think a good part of this build would be just focusing on the barrier aspect, really. Barrier length and yeah, barrier duration. Increased barrier duration. And I think this build will still be viable late game because cooldown duration. Okay, you can get cooldown duration on a lot of gear. I'm gonna probably be doing a video on cooldown, or not cooldown duration. It'll be my last video of this series that I'm working on, but it'll be items. Item stats for the sorceress. So I'm gonna go through. I have a lot of video of gameplay during the open beta, and I'm gonna go over and take screenshots of I hope I can do this. I hope it saves every single screenshot, but the plan is to take lots and lots of screenshots of all the gear and then go through all those screenshots and kind of make a list of the affixes that drops on rare gear, so we can really create some excellent builds before the game comes out, so we can really refine the builds, because I'm pretty sure this build is going to get nerfed to nothing. They're probably going to take that away, that cooldown duration, or reduce it by extra, and I have a few other ideas. Got a few more builds that I think might be able to circumvent this, so I'm going to be coming out with those much later once we get those item stats, so we can really play with the numbers and see what works out. I have tried a couple different builds that are seeming a little bit viable, but just with random items. But I think looking at the affixes, we can really refine it and try to break something else. Yeah, there it is. Ashava is down. So we're gonna stop here, and then I'm gonna go over and show you the build. Okay, these are where I put the stats in on this build. So let's go to the desktop, and then I'm gonna go to Firefox, and this is a skill calculator that somebody built. I saw it posted on Reddit, so thank you to whoever made this. I hope you're seeing this. I hope you continue to update this. It's on lothric.github.io/Diablo4-build-calc. Basically, if you just go into Google and you search Diablo 4 build calculator, this is what you come up with, okay? So here's what I got for the sorceress, and this is my build for this sorceress. I did not build this specially for Ashava. This is the build that I've been using, and it's just been decimating everything. All right, Frost Bolt, just 2 points. Those 2 points are just to get us over to our core skill. Ice Shards. I really enjoyed Ice Shards. That was my favorite of the core skills right now. Yeah. I don't really like anything else, really. Charged Bolt would be interesting for its reduces an enemy's damage dealt. This might be good for bosses, like if you're in a group play. So this is something that we could consider doing. And Chain Lightning is just for doing some major damage. But we did Ice Shards, okay? And I'm sure Chain Lightning would be better. Would have been better for Ashava, but Ice Shards is way better for mob packs. And Ice Shards is way better for mob packs because they ricochet from enemy to enemy. And they always ricochet off frozen enemies. So if you cast that one time and there's 5 mobs frozen around you, you're going to hit 5 enemies. Well, you have a barrier active. They treat enemies as if they were frozen. So they don't even have to be frozen. You just have to have a barrier active. And as you saw on my post, I had no barrier active. And let's go back to here. No damage. I did not take any damage. I did not use one potion. Okay, I took damage, but I didn't use one potion. Not one potion. World boss solo, not one potion. All right. Back to this. All right. Defensive skills. So we maxed out the Ice Shards, 5 points. Teleport. Just 1 point in each. With Shimmering Teleport. 30% damage reduction for 5 seconds. This probably did a major part of me taking no damage. Ice Armor. Barrier of ice forms around you for 6 seconds, absorbing 30% of your base life and damage. Boom! 30% increased life. While Ice Armor is active, 10% of all your damage dealt is added to its barrier. And you get mana regen because the mana sucks. And then damage against vulnerable enemies contributes 100% more to the ice armor's barrier. It's just a joke at this point. So 20% of all your damage goes to your life. That's like 20% leech. We'll see if that stays. I hope it does, because this is GG right here. Everybody should use ice armor. Frost Nova. Everybody should use almost all of these. Like I even thought about just using all 4 of these. But I think Deep Freeze slightly barely beats out Flame Shield. Barely. I just didn't like these. Heals you for missing life might be interesting. All right, so here you go. You automatically make enemies or bosses vulnerable for 8 seconds. Boom, right there. This is a massive 20% increased damage. Always. Because right when I hit that Frost Nova, I spam all my skills until my mana is empty, and then I wait for that Frost Nova to... I reposition, wait for it to reload. Okay. Elemental Attunement, critical strikes, lucky hit. So you got to get a lucky hit and a critical strike, and it will reset the cooldown to one of these skills. Notice that they've put it can only happen once every 10 seconds. So that's why I only put 1 point in here, because only once every 10 seconds. That's not worth putting more points in here, I don't think. Maybe if they nerf Ice Blades, maybe we'll put 3 points into that. Okay, Ice Blades. This is what's doing the major damage. And you can see I only put 2 points in here. Put 1 more in there. I don't know exactly how many points we put. I think level 20, this is the right here. So Ice Blades, we conjure that enemy. Cooldown is reduced by 1 second each time it hits a vulnerable enemy. Well, what makes them vulnerable? Frost Nova makes them vulnerable. Okay. And the cooldown reduction is applied to other skills. I hope they don't over nerf this. 50% is, I mean, this is the best. This is the best skill in the game. And then enchantment effect. This is what we used for our enchantment effect. Every 20 seconds in cooldowns you spend, you spawn an Ice Blades on a random enemy. So that's what they're probably going to nerf right there. For every 20 seconds in cooldowns you spend, you spawn an Ice Blades on a random enemy. So that's probably getting nerfed. We probably could have got this Conjuration Mastery, but I don't. This is not the build that I typically use. I don't use the Ice Blades, so I usually use the Ice Shards enchantment effect. They conjure and fly towards frozen enemies, or the Fireball enchantment effect. I'll put 1 point in Fireball, so that when you kill an enemy, they explode. Massive, massive damage. Okay, and then I skipped all the mastery skills and I went straight for Deep Freeze. Encase yourself in ice, becoming immune. Chilling enemies for 20%. When Deep Freeze expires, adds additional 100% damage. All right. You gain another barrier here. Another barrier. Another barrier. So that's this build. I'm guessing they're going to change it all up. But we will keep this in mind. Keep these in mind. These capstones I'm not very impressed with. This is the only thing I'm impressed with here. So your frost skills have up to a 10% chance to make your next cast of a frost skill consume no mana. Chances doubled against vulnerable enemies. So there we go with the vulnerable. So we'll probably go with that avalanche. And We might even go with the if they really nerf that ice blades, we might even go with the blizzard here. Might go with blizzard and just a constant blizzard uptime. I'll go over these builds later, but I think if they do nerf the ice blades, and if they do nerf the ice shards, blizzard is a close second because you can crowd control enemies, and a crowd controlled enemy is like chilled or frozen. And there's a thingy where there's a enchantment, not an enchantment, but a legendary affix that gives you 2 mana per crowd controlled enemy. So you can keep getting your mana. You can regen your mana and use mana reduction to be able to constantly get your blizzard, and it's got a pretty good lucky hit chance as well. Anyways, that's the build. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more of my builds and stuff, I'm going to be coming out with a couple more videos. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.